Welcome to another Homebuyers Bootcamp session. My name is Sophia Terrelonge, Realtor Associate, your Realtor Associate of choice, and we're here with another informative session. So before we bring on our presenter, the hostess, our presenter for this evening, there's something I want you to take note of. Basically, pretty much for most financial institutions, when it comes to you getting a mortgage, they're going to require you to have your NHT eligibility letter. And the only way you can get that eligibility letter is if you have been making NHT contributions. However, I don't want to go too in depth, so just know that it's very important, particularly for you. If you are self-employed, you work for yourself, whether you're a taxi driver, you do hair, you make wonderful fashionista garments, all of these things, it's very important. This session is for you so that finally your dream of home ownership can become a reality. All right, so now I'm going to welcome our lovely presenter for this evening, Mrs. Tanieka Rennis-Miller, accountant, and she's going to share her wonderful, amazing reserves of knowledge with us today. All right, so come in the room, Lady
Look, I'm
Tanieka.
looking to the left and to the right to see who you're
It's
talking
you.
about. All right, so thanks for having me. You would have mentioned the name before. In terms of an introduction, I am an accountant. I've been practicing for a little over, been an accountant for a little over 15 years. Still in the 9 to 5, while I am going to be doing, a presentation about self-employment. Yes, but I'm still in the 9 to 5. It's something that I love, that I have a passion for. And I'm hoping, that at the end of this presentation, persons who would have, certain questions, I'm hoping that at the end that there will be clarity. And just to answer to say, I am not in my presentation, I would be going, into information that pertains to NHT, the tax office, the company's office as well. But just a disclaimer, I am not an employee of either of these organizations. All right. So it's pretty much from the accounting
Hold on. One
perspective.
moment, Lady Miller. Yes, my disclosure, which I keep forgetting. So, yes, I'm a Keller Williams Jamaica Realtor Associate. However, nothing that is expressed in these homebuyer series constitutes official Keller Williams Jamaica. It's not necessarily something that's sponsored by Keller Williams Jamaica. So, just know that I am affiliated with Keller Williams Jamaica and I'm here to serve you, all right? Just that
Yeah,
disclaimer. Go
the
ahead, lady.
disclaimers are critical. All right. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Just let me know when you are seeing
So we
the
can, it's
slide.
not showing a slideshow view just yet.
Hmm.
Yes,
Not
no.
seeing.
Now it's showing a slideshow.
All right. So let's get going. And I have how long do I have again, Lady Terrelonge?
30 minutes and 30 minutes Q&A.
30 minutes. All right, so let's go. So it's all about, in terms of your contribution to the NHT and just the other relevant institutions as a self-employed person. All right. So at the end of this presentation, I'm hoping to cover, basically give an overview of self-employment, some pros and cons, and also, I think this would be most important, is to really shed some light in terms of the regulatory requirements. All right. Self-employment. So this pretty much is the opposite of being employed. All right. So you are not salaried. You do not receive, say, a remuneration package. Pretty much where, for example, when you're employed, then there would be the health insurance for those employers who enroll staff, and such benefits, no pension, etc. right? So you do not receive remuneration, but it really speaks to you being highly skilled in a particular area. And so you would have decided to venture out on the self-employed route. And I think Lady Terrelonge, sorry, at times I may refer to missionary because
It's they kind of figure out says it is the church
we
connections.
go to the same church.
That's
So
something
please
like
forgive me,
100%.
Lady Missionary, right? You would have mentioned a few of, those skill areas. So it can range from, say, being a lawyer, on the professional side, an accountant, architecture, or, skill set in terms of being a barber, designer, etc. But it must be that you are highly skilled in this area, and so you are able to compete, because guess what? You are not the only person who would say be, providing that sort of service. All right. In terms of pros and cons, and I was really intentional, in creating this balance. Wouldn't want to say come with 5 pros and 4 cons, and someone read one thing into it or vice versa. But I just come with balance. But I mean, this is by no means an exhaustive list. If you go do your research, there are tons of pros on being self-employed and tons of cons as well. So in terms of flexibility, pretty much that is saying you're your own boss. So you pretty much set your own schedule, right? You can work from anywhere, dependent again, on, the type of service that you would say offer. There is also autonomy. You have control, right? So as I said, you are your own boss. So you pretty much have control. There is the potential for growth. As I mentioned before, this is an era for you to venture out in being self-employed. It must be that you have, a specific skill set. So there is that potential for you to continue to grow personally and also professionally, right? There is always the avenue for you to gain financial opportunities. So you are good at what you do. This is what the market is requiring. I'm now self-employed. This is a service I'm offering. So there is that avenue for you to grow, become exponential, and grow financially. And there is the wonderful benefit, right? Tax benefit. It's all about savings. So say, for example, you may be operating from home, right? So you are licensed to operate from home. In terms of benefits, say, for example, when you are doing your SO4, based on what you do, so if it is maybe, say, a graphics designer and you're operating from home, things like the electricity, yes, the internet, for these utilities, when you are preparing your returns, you can say, go ahead and do your prorating, right? And what do I mean by the prorating? So say based on the level of effort that you would have, say, expended on your business, you would do the prorating accordingly. It may be, say, a third, of your electricity bill. When you do your projections, it's maybe, say, about a third of your electricity bill that is expended on, doing your self-employed work. You would do the prorating accordingly, right? So those are certain benefits that you get when you are self-employed. And as I said before, there are pros, and so it is that there are cons. I'm going to wrap the first point and the last one because they are pretty much similar. In terms of financial risk or uncertainty and lack of job security. So, pretty much you are saying no longer in the 9 to 5, right? And I'm taking it from the lens that you are solely self-employed and not in the 9 to 5, right? So there is no certainty of funds coming in. And why is it uncertain? The income that you receive in, say, month 1, for the second month, you can drop right to ground zero. And I'm not being a pessimist. I am just being real. And the opposite is also true.
Reality.
It is the reality. The opposite is also true in that you can say earn maybe say 500,000 this month. And then for the next month, income can be quadrupled. But let's always remember that when you are self-employed, there is that uncertainty as it relates to, the finances and that lack of job security. And just to plug this as well, with the 9 to 5, you are able to say, okay, I am at the end of the month, if that's the frequency, within which you say receive your salary, you are able to plan. So if it's say 100,000, as small as it sounds, but you are still able to budget yourself to ensure that at the end of the month and to go into the other month, yes, by the time you are to receive that next month's salary, that same 100,000 bandwidth is able to take you there. With the self-employed, you can't do that because you're really not sure what you are getting. All right? In terms of a work-life balance, this definitely can become overwhelming because pretty much, and if there are self-employed persons on the line, I'm sure you can attest to this fact. There is no clocking in. Yes, neither is there any clocking out. You work on holidays. The intention is really to say that the longer I work, chances are, I'm able to spread my reach, do some more marketing, or, it's all about increasing your income at the end of the day. So there is really no work-life balance, with self-employed. Multiple roles on the line of being overwhelming. This again can be something, a bit overwhelming because you're talking about doing the accounting yourself, getting in the weeds in terms of the day-to-day, granular stuff of the business, doing the PR. You ever hear them talk about head cook and bottle washer? Literally, that is what this is talking about. So you're really, this can become overwhelming when you are self-employed. Limited benefits. I wanted to say or lack of benefits. Again, we know that with the 9 to 5, other than that salary amount, yes, included in that remuneration packet, the HR would take you through the ropes of telling you about your wonderful health insurance, your life insurance, your pension, and of course, other benefits. But guess what? With the self-employed, there is no automatic enrollment. Yeah. So you would have to go find a suitable health insurance provider, life insurance provider, and get yourself enrolled on a plan. And the other thing too, it's more expensive, and you can do your research. It's more expensive to enroll on an individual plan when compared to that of a group plan. All right. So again, these are just a few pros and cons that I'll be sharing with you, but they are not an exhaustive list. All right. And moving on, talking about now, the real big ticket item. Compliance, yes. All right. So the minute you think about venturing out to become self-employed, there are some conversations that you must have. Yes, you must have conversation with the Companies Office of Jamaica. And you must, at a minimum now, because again, it's based on the type of business. And you must have conversation with the Companies Office of Jamaica. In terms of Companies Office of Jamaica, they handles the business registration aspect. So you're talking about obtaining your business certificate to ensure that you are operating, in a compliant manner. And talking about name search, that is where that is done as well, because no two businesses can have the same name. So you may have, say for example, ABC Limited in your head. And when you go to the company's office, then there is another ABC Limited already in existence. So that means, as they say, you have to wheel and come again. They also sometimes can work with you and you try and come as close as possible, but there cannot be two of the same business names. With that said, you also, as I said before, would need to have your conversation with the company's office of Jamaica. And that is where, again, you would ensure that you get an account, get registered in terms of being able to do your filing and payments online. The licenses and permits, those are not mandatory because it's based on the type of business, right, that you do. And of course, you would do your research to see, okay, if this is what I am doing, then I would need to get license or permit in order to operate. But again, always remember, have the conversation with the company's office of Jamaica and tax office of Jamaica. All right, so as I'm speaking to, self-employed persons, let's delve a little bit deeper in the SO4. And what is this SO4 form used for? It's pretty much, which I'm basically going to read from my screen, it's used to declare income and expenses for the self-employed persons in Jamaica. So income, and let me just amplify here, it's all income. Yes, because remember that you also can be employed. So you have to declare all income. For the expense side of things, though, it has to do with expenses that you would have incurred for this business. So not going back to the example I gave before about prorating. If, say, for example, you operate from home. So we are ethical persons. So there is no way that as an expense to say get that sort of a tax relief, you are going to disclose the full amount of whatever, say, your electricity bill is, your NWC bill is, if it pertains to the business, right? I hope I'm clear. So for income, it's all income. For expense, it must be incurred for the business. And if it is where you would say utilities for the business, it must be prorated. It cannot be the full. And again, we are operating on the basis that we are ethical persons. All right? And of course, I also have on the screen of saying, why is it important? And that is why the previous slide, at the top of it, it's saying compliance. It pretty much keeps us compliant with tax laws, and also basically helps us to avoid penalties, because we know the government, they are big on collecting, what's theirs, and rightfully so. All right. Still going a little deeper. So now you are at the point of preparing your SO4. What is it that you need? I mentioned before about the need for disclosing your income, right? And also declaring what those expenses are. In terms of documentations, you may be saying, what are these things? Before I even get there, just as a best practice, it's best for you to, as much as possible, try and keep all these documentations in one place. And I'll tell you why. Remember that when you are doing that SO4, it pretty much reflects, income and expenditure for pretty much a 1 year period. If you are not say so careful in terms of how you secure those documents, the process can seem a bit more laborious than it really is, right? So it's really some free promotion, free consultation. But try and keep this information in one place. I tell you, it works. It sounds simple, but it really works. And you're talking about in terms of your income, it's pretty much your invoices and those receipts. And for the expenses, I would have elaborated before that it must pertains to the business. All right. Plug in something here in terms of the bank account. Another best practice, as much as possible. Again, once you decide that you are going the self-employed route, I would say streamline your operations in such a way that you have a bank account designated for what you do, right? So the business is, this is what you're doing, have a designated bank account. Again, it is really for streamlining. And when you need to pull those bank statements, then you would see the ease to which I am referring to. All right. So this slide is pretty much a summary, almost like a summary of the one before. But in terms now of putting your SO1 together, you know, as I said before, all your income and expenses together. Complete the form, ensure that that is done accurately. And what I just want to plug here as well, you can, if it is, and that's perfectly okay, if it is that you say don't necessarily have an accounting background, then you can reach out, you know, solicit the assistance of an accountant or someone, you know, who is off with the process because you want to ensure that the form is done correctly. All right. And of course, last but by no means least, ensure that you do your submission on time. And as I'm speaking about on time, if you go on TAJ's website right now, I want to mind somebody send me a screenshot in the chat. If you go on their website right now, there is a literal countdown, right? There is a reminder saying when the SO4 is due. All right. And the 15th of March is a weekend for this year. So it's really due on the 17th, but a countdown is there. So please, 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 please don't miss that reminder. All right. And then now I'm into, not sure why I'm not seeing the, oh, let me go back. All right. Into the, you know, the taxes or say contributions, which I know again, we are interested in. So as a self-employed person, you know, as I said before, it's pretty much an income and expenditure schedule, you know, or outline that you really prepare at the end of each year. So how do you know what taxes or contributions to make? How am I with time, Lady Terrelonge?
Well, you started at about 20 minutes. You still have like 10 minutes.
All right, cool. So that sounds good. All right. So I know this is where, you know, most of us interest lies. In terms of the income tax threshold, the income tax threshold, just like with the employed, it's that 1.7. But last year, again, free consultation happening right here. In terms of last year, it would be somewhat different because what? The threshold would have increased from that 1.5 and that exact figure to the 1.7 and $88, right? So there is no way in, say, applying the threshold, you are going to do that flat 1.7. So here comes another instance of where you would need to do a prorating, right? So you would have to use 3 months on the former threshold, which is 3/12 times that 1.5, and then 9 months on the the current one, which is the 1.7. And also, anytime that there is ever a change and you're saying applying the threshold, then you would have to do that prorating if there is a change within the year. So if at the end of the day, say now your net amount is more than the threshold, then you would have to apply the threshold. And I would have gone in depth on that. Just like with when we are employed, the 25% and the application of the 30% when we are over the 6 million, right? In terms of education tax, sorry, if it falls below the threshold, then clearly there is no income tax, right? I take it that's public knowledge. In terms of the education tax, that is 2.25%, right? It has a different threshold, right? So I want us to make note of that. It does have a different threshold, and we know what our minimum wage threshold is. So that is based on the minimum wage threshold, which is $15,000 weekly. So you know you have to do your calculations to say get your annual figure. Similar treatment for the NHT, except that it's 3%. All right. And again, if it falls below the threshold, then there is no education tax, no NHT. In terms of the NIS, that is 6%. But the difference with the NIS, though, even if you make a loss, even if you are submitting a nil return, NIS payment must be done. You must pay over your NIS. So, free consultation once more. All right. In terms of, I think I mentioned somewhat, yes, about this. In terms, I just thought about, sharing some important reminders with you, especially given that we are pretty much in tax time, right? So your annual income tax is due on the 15th of March each year. So this is just generally. Like I said, for this year, the 15th will be on a weekend. So that means that the return becomes, due on the following working day, which I believe it's the 17th, which is a Monday.
Yes.
All returns, thank you so much for confirming. Yes, all returns must be filed by March 15th to avoid penalty of $5,000 for each month that the return is late. All right, and I think that's it. I think I made it within the time.
Thanks a lot, Lady Miller. Thank you so much.
So that's pretty much it, right from my end. Can I stop sharing?
Yeah,
So
sure,
I
you
can
can stop
see.
sharing.
All right, so I can see clearly. Right. All right,
So
so
now
that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. So now we have our Q&A session, and one question had come in. Good evening. What about those who buy and sell? Because you were referring to like lawyers and all of the other groups.
You want to break that down for me when you say buy and sell?
I think
Oh, it's
I hope
there
I'm
in the
not
chat.
mispronouncing. You can actually speak. So
Oh,
unmute. Yeah. Oh, did she send something? Thank you so much, Lady Sonia. Great presentation. Thank you.
the person is gonna come in just to, yeah, because it sounds a bit colloquial, so I just want to be sure what I am responding to.
You can unmute
Mm.
and ask the question and clarify.
And if it's in context to the NHD, right, so that I'm clear.
You are free to unmute. TRACAYN. All right. Please send in your questions. I'm not an accountant. Oh, sorry, she had typed. I buy clothes and other stuff overseas.
And speaking about the NHT in and of itself.
No, she's telling you, this is a person who is clarifying. I buy clothes and other stuff overseas to sell them here. Because you ask her buy and sell what? So she tell you.
Okay, I was then also asking a question to see if it pertains to the NHT. Because if that's what it pertains to, I know that there was a previous NHT presentation. And what I do know is that you can do your voluntary contribution, but there are some changes in terms of the stipulations. Like, if, for example, you live overseas or work overseas, then you can do your contribution, but would not necessarily want to get granular in that,
Yes,
NHA aspect of things.
I think she was just referring to because I'd asked her to hold her question while you were presenting. You're giving examples of
Excuse
professions.
me. Good evening, sisters. I was registered my business, online business, and I pay some tax at the tax office, both housing trust and NIS and other tax.
She is low.
You
Let's
hear
try
me?
turn up. A little
Hello?
better.
You hear me?
A
I
little
can hear
better.
you. Let's see if
You
that
hear me?
person is hearing. I can hear you. It's
Go
just that
ahead.
it was saying you were
Okay,
low.
yes. Yes, I registered an online business where I sell clothes and other stuff. And go by tax office at Kingston Road. And somebody there did tell me how much I should pay for the tax, and they said it covered housing trust, NIS, the tax that require for online business. So I was asking if that tax that I pay, if it also can be used with a housing trust also. But I don't know how to go by or to do it.
Going down into NHT business, which I already gave my disclaimer, but what I would say, believe what I do know in terms of a modus operandi for NHT contributors. Once you are, say, contributing consistently for the 52 weeks, then that makes you eligible, to get whatever NHT benefits. But again, I am not representing NHD.
Yes, and for
All
those
right?
of you who are late here, we had the NHT presentation last week. No, week before last. We had a break.
Not sure.
Mrs. Hyacinth Eastman, the recording is available on my YouTube channel, Real Estate with Sophia. I've been sharing in the chat the link, and for those of you watching the recording, it's in the description box below. Click the link and you'll join the Home Buyers WhatsApp group. It's an announcement only group. Nobody will be in there talking unnecessarily. I am only the person who speaks and share information as it pertains to real estate in Jamaica. Click the link and join the group. No, I do not have the ability nor the time to be inputting everybody's phone number into my phone and then adding you. All right, so just click the link and you join. It's not a scam, not happen to your phone. Just click the link and join. At that point, I'll be able to share with you past recordings. Yeah. I think there was
And
someone. Yeah.
I just had one other thing too I wanted to say. It could be where, the person just need to go in and have a conversation. Because, sometimes when you even call on the phone,
Yeah, not get you.
it's sad to say, but sometimes it's based on who you have the conversation with. So you may end up talking to 5 persons and you get 5 different, say sort of guidance. So I would say go in branch if there is a need to, but just get the clarity that's needed.
Okay. All right, people. I tell you over and over again, I'm a trained economist by profession, not an accountant, not LHD, and so forth, but I ensure that I get the experts here. So when they come, ask a question them. Because afterwards, we can't answer them.
And another disclaimer, I don't have all the answers.
Accounting related questions.
But
How
and
to
I still don't
file
have
your
all.
taxes.
But if I don't though, I can, you know, do my research and then of course get the answers here to Lady Terrelonge. Yeah.
Sure.
Not
And of
making
course,
any
I'll
claims
share
to
it in the
knowing
group.
everything.
All right. Any further questions? I'm looking at the participants list, and there are a few persons, at least who I know are self-employed. So I'm surprised and I not ask the question.
They are good like that.
Really? Go ahead, Samsung. I don't know who you are. You never label yourself. Go ahead.
Yes, Lady Terrelonge. It's Tanieka. Right. Reason not asking because I think it's more delving into accounting because I want to know about withholding taxes, those certificate issues when you do have, you are self-employed and you do have a company, but then outside of the company, you're earning income and now all income has to be declared. So I think this is more where I would literally have to engage an accountant. I may
Yeah.
not be able to pose those questions here. So that's why I'm staying silent.
And is that Tamika, Lady Pang?
Yes.
Yes, Lady Miller, how are you?
Oh, because I see your device name. We can have a conversation offline.
All right, thank you so much.
We definitely can. And you know, we're gonna go down in some other areas, but we can have a conversation offline.
Right. I've been doing this for 10 years being self-employed, but I am a management system consultant. There are some areas. So I know it's your professional information that is going to be needed, but we'll talk offline.
No
Okay.
problem at all. We'll be happy to help. No problem.
And Lady Sonia is also saying, yes, my questions are personal as well. And I have shared our presenter's contact details.
I think, yes,
I'll
I was
share them
just
again.
about to say that my contact information is on the last slide. I had stopped sharing. So you can just drop that in the
Next
chat.
time, for those of you
Yeah.
watching the recording, look in the description box below, because you won't be able to see the chat in the recording.
And if you're going to call me, please call me within reasonable time when I'm able to see the sunshine, all right?
It's about 12 midnight calling, please, and thanks. All right. All right, well. Ooh. All right, so David is asking, do you suggest, oh Lord, I missed this question, hold on. David is asking, do you suggest to register your business right away, even if you've just started a business and your clientele is not as consistent and of course your income not so consistent? So I want to know at what point you register the business.
I would say you can go ahead and register your business. As I said before, the minute you sort of say you're conceptualizing and want to say become self-employed, there's no harm really in say doing that registration, because I tell you, sometimes again you can get so caught up in other things. Yes, after a period of time and not remembering necessarily that, hey, one of the steps was not done. Yes, as simple or cliche as it may sound. So I would say the minute you are serious about this is what you want to do, go ahead and do your registration. There is this organization. I think they recently do a name change, Jamaica Business Development Corporation. They are on Camp Road. So again, if free promotion, this again, if it is where you are at that juncture and you may say, all right, I think I need some help scoping out scoping out something. There is something not clear in my head and so on. This is an institution that you can visit and they assist you with. Thank you so much, Ruth. Is that Ruth Lawrence? Where they can help you and they basically do that hand holding. you know, that one-to-one in terms of helping you with business plan and pretty much everything to get you out there. So I'm happy I have a witness here. So thanks for that, Ruth. Yes, JBDC. But
Lady
like I
Julian,
said, there is no
question.
harm in registering. I think you have a raised and
Yes,
yes.
Lady Julian, I'll feed them through to you. Lady Julian, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good presentation, Lady Miller. My question is, I think it's similar to the person that just asked. If you're just register your company and everything, and for the first year you have not acquire a lot of sales or so, is it that you have still has to pay tax if you didn't really make that amount of money? Is there a threshold as a business that you need to pay? And if you have not made that income as to pay that tax, do you get is there a waiver or something, or will you be penalized?
So I am not sure, and I thank you so much for the question. I'm not sure at what point you came on, but as I was going through in terms of the individual taxes, I was saying for the NIS. So that's the sort of unfair part about it, whether or not you say make a profit, and even if you're doing a nil return, and you can go ahead and research that information, whether or not you make a profit, you must do your NIS payment, which is a flat fee of 13,500. But if it is where at the end of the day there is a net income, then it is 6% of whatever the threshold is, which in this case it would be the minimum threshold, which is 15,000 weekly. But for the others, then there would be no taxes. So there would be no income tax because they are below the threshold. There would be no ed, talking about ad, there would be no ed and there would be no NHT. But the NIS is mandatory regardless of.
All right, thank you.
You are most welcome, Lady Dawkins.
Any further questions? Even if you have a more personal okay. Lady Sonia, what is the benefit of NIS? Are you hearing me, Lady Tanieka? I think everybody in the room can hear me? Just thumbs up. Because it seems like she's not hearing me. Or somebody just said something in the room in general.
Yes.
She's not. Oh, she got kicked off. Oh no. Yeah, so it seems like we have some internet issues. Let's just hold on a sec to see if she comes back on. Yeah, she got kicked off. My apologies, guys. One sec. Okay. So in the meantime, while we wait, I'll share. You're most welcome. Everyone who is saying thanks and how they find the series helpful. Let me just go ahead and in the meantime, while we wait for her to come back in, I'll just share again the link to the Homebuyers WhatsApp group. Again, for those of you who are just coming in, it's an announcements only group. There will be no chatter. Nobody will be talking anything unrelated to real estate. It's strictly for content related to real estate, especially for these upcoming sessions and so forth. And of course, you give me your feedback on other sessions that you'd like to have. Okay, so that's the link there, and our presenter's contact details again. I'm just sharing it in the chat. I'm not getting an indication as to what happened actually. I'm assuming it's internet. Give me one moment. Yeah, so like I said, it's the internet. You know how it is, unless we're all on solar. And even then, so the internet itself can decide to go out. It's not necessarily an electricity thing, but she will come back in shortly. So in the meantime, get your questions together. Especially, yeah, thanks a lot, Lady Wood. Okay, she's back. Here we go. All right, but I'm not seeing her audio though. Not seeing your audio. You have okay, now I see your audio. Lady Miller, you can proceed.
Oh Lord, I'm so sorry.
I can hear you now.
I got kicked out. Let me turn on my camera. Tell me if you see me.
Yes, I see.
Right, right. Um, the question was about what again, Lady Terrelonge?
What is the benefit of NIS?
Oh, so as it is, the NIS is National Insurance scheme. So somewhat I would say similar to pension, that you get, at retirement. And also, unfortunately, if there is death, I would have to check the amount though that would be payable. Again, if there is death, unfortunately, then there is that benefit. Because you would have contributed, then of course you can get same benefit. Similar to NHT, it's happy time for a lot of persons now because there is that NHT refund, right?
Right, but of course, as per our NHT session, and I'm going to encourage you, click the link, join the WhatsApp homebuyers group or homebuyers WhatsApp group, right? And of course, I'll share with you the recordings of all the previous sessions we've had. And if you go back and listen to the NHT session, you will see that Lady Eastman had advised that you won't necessarily pull out your refund, especially if you're going to purchase soon, because that can
There
be
you go.
utilized as contributions, refund to our deposit. But join the
Right.
group, you get all of that info. If you're watching the recording, the link to join the group in the description box below. All right, I'm not seeing any further questions. Okay, guess
Don't get
all
kicked out,
hearts and minds are
again.
clear. Oh, Lady Dawes says 150,000 for debt you'll get from NIS.
Okay, okay. And that's not even a lot. You see, it's small. It's minuscule.
What is required? And just so you know, the days of you going up to NHT and paying the NHT contribution alone and get the NHT mortgage it done. So that's why if you're self-employed, that's why I had this session here with Lady Miller. You have to actually do the whole thing.
Thank you.
You have to pay all of them.
Hope it was valuable.
All right, so I'm not seeing any further
Session.
questions. Thank you so much, Lady Miller. We greatly appreciate the time that you've taken from your busy Sunday evening, an evening that
A day
should
after my
be
birthday. So I'm
That's
still
a
in
happy
celebration
belated
mood,
birthday.
man. But
Happy
it was
belated
really my
birthday.
honor. It was my honor.
All right, thank you so much for coming to share with us. And of course, it's Valentine's weekend. And of course, you know, say, Madam married, so all these things. So, you know, she has sacrificed,
Yes.
and it's sacrifice, has sacrificed her at the end. Everybody, Lady Ruth, Lady Sonia, they're calling in
Thank
and say, Happy
you. Thank
birthday.
you, Ruth. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you,
Okay, and yes,
Karen.
Alicia. Thank you, Sophia Miller. Greatly appreciated. Job well done, Lady Miller. I said,
Thank
Karen.
you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing with us. We're truly grateful. And of course, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Also,
Yes.
people, if you're whether you're watching the recording or you're here in the Zoom room, if you need accounting assistance now, remember, she's the accounting expert, then you can reach out to her. For NHT details, you will reach out to Miss Hyacinth Eastman. And like I said, click the link, join the Homebuyers WhatsApp group, and then you'll be having access to all of those past recordings. All right. So I believe that is it. Thank you so much for being here. Any closing thoughts, Lady Miller?
Woo! The closing thought would be we are on the cusp of submitting our tax obligation. Let's not be late. So to avoid the penalties, ensure that you do your submission by
Mm-hmm.
March 17th. And like I said, TAJ would have simplified for you. The minute you log on, then that countdown is there. It broke it down so granular. It tell you how many days, how many hours, how many seconds. So there is no way you can miss it. And as Ruth says, file your taxes, all right, to avoid the
File
penalties.
your
Yes.
taxes. And I'm one of
Amen.
the self-employed people, so yeah, file the taxes.
Yeah,
I've
man.
been
Right.
doing
So
that
get
too.
that SO4 done on time. Let's go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, everyone. So until we meet again for our next session, which will be February 23rd, where we're going to have one of our panelists come back, Sir Hibbert, Omar Hibbert of OAH Designs. OAH. I know there's more. Sir Hibbert, don't upset with me. Omar Hibbert, he'll be back to share about quality designs for the Jamaican landscape. You do not want to miss that session. If you have not clicked the link to join the Homebuyers WhatsApp group, we are waiting. Click the link and join so that you'll have easy access to know exactly when we're going to have our upcoming sessions. All right, so thank you so much for being here with us this evening. So until we meet again, God bless and bye.